Natatandaan niyo po ba ang laro na Patapon? It was a game na inaalaw tayo mag-command ng isang army with the beat of drums. A game na pinagsama ang rhythm and strategy. But Patapon was more than just a rhythm game. It was a fresh experience for the PlayStation fans and it was one of the more memorable titles sa PSP. After 3 mainline titles and more than a decade later, ano na nga ba ang nangyari sa Patapon? At bakit wala ng bago after Patapon 3? Pag-usapan natin ang rise and fall of Patapon. But first, roll the intro.
Zach Arben GG, Fistbomb.
Hey guys, my name is Zach and this is GG Fistbomb. Sa channel ito, we talk about video games and video game consoles from the past and present, whether PlayStation, Nintendo, or PC pa yan. So if mahilig kayo sa ganung content, mag-subscribe na rin kayo kung magustuhan nyo ang video na to. Now, bago nagkaroon ng Patapon, PlayStation already released a couple of rhythm games back in the PS1. Bukod sa DDR, dalawa sa mga memorable games back then was Patapon the Rapper and Bust a Groove. Released in 1996, Patapon the Rapper was one of the first games to show the potential of rhythm-based gameplay. Kinakailangan mo i-press yung mga buttons on screen and match it to the beat, as Patapon rap his way through various levels. Catchy naman ang music and charming ang kanyang art style, making it stand out for the console. The success of Patapon eventually made it into one of the PlayStation mascots, along with Crash Bandicoot. Now, a couple of years later, na-release naman ang Bust a Groove, isang dance battle game. It combined rhythm with competition. You press the on-screen prompts in rhythm to outdance your opponent. It was a more competitive game compared to Patapon, which made it exciting, especially when it comes to multiplayer action. Naalala ko pa nga na ito yung madalas naming laro ng magkakapatid sa bahay as we try to battle it out and win on the dance floor. Napaka-memorable talaga ng mga music with lyrics na ginamit dito. At naalala ko pa rin yung soundtrack nito. These games laid the foundation for rhythm-based gameplay. But when Patapon came out in 2007, it did something no other rhythm game had done before. It mixed music with tactical strategy. The series starts with the original Patapon, released in 2007 for the PlayStation Portable. Developed by Japan Studio, Patapon was unlike any other rhythm game before it. Yung idea of commanding an army using drum beats was fresh. Imagine, hindi lang ito simpleng pagpindot ng buttons to follow music. Each drum pattern meant something different. Pata, pata, patapon was for marching forward, while pon, pon, patapon was for attack. It was a rhythm game, but with more depth. Simple lang naman pero puno ng charm and personality ang visuals, using 2D silhouettes in general. You played as the Almighty, guiding the Patapon on their quest to find Earth End, yung kanilang promised land. Now, kapag perfect ang rhythm mo with your commands, you'd enter fever mode, which powers up your army. Timing and precision was really important. Make a mistake and mawawala yung momentum ng army. Counted ang bawat move to lead your tribe to victory. After the success of the first Patapon, Sony then released Patapon 2 in 2008. The sequel further expanded on what made Patapon great. Isa sa mga biggest changes niya was the introduction of the hero Patapon. This character could be customized, making it possible to build a Patapon that matched your playstyle, whether you preferred range attacks or close combat. May mga new units and enemies na pwedeng makalaban, and the egg hatching mechanic allowed you to create different types of Patapons. This added complexity made the game even more strategic. Multiplayer was also introduced, allowing you to team up with friends and face off against giant bosses. Think of it as playing a rhythm game with others, strategizing together to take down a massive foe. It added a new layer of fun and cooperation na wala sa unang laro. Now, in 2011, we saw the release naman of Patapon 3, and this game brought some significant changes. Unlike Patapon 1 and Patapon 2 where you controlled a whole army, Patapon 3 shifted its focus towards smaller, more powerful units. Isa ka ng uber hero who leads a small group of hero Patapons instead of being an omnipresent god commanding a massive army tulad ng mga naunang laro. This time, the game leaned more into RPG mechanics. Skill trees, equipment upgrades, and class-based characters were introduced. The rhythm mechanics were still there, but the game felt more like an action RPG than a pure rhythm strategy game. Multiplayer was also a bigger part of the experience, allowing players to team up or compete against each other. While some fans enjoyed this new direction, Others miss the large-scale army battles and rhythm strategy hybrid of the previous games. Still, Patapon 3 was technically impressive, pushing the PSP to its limits in terms of graphics and gameplay depth. Now, by the time Patapon 3 was released, the rhythm game genre as a whole was starting to decline. Earlier in the 2000s, we saw the rise of games like Guitar Hero and Dance Dance Revolution, but by 2011, interest in rhythm-based games was fading. Players were now gravitating towards open-world adventures, shooters, and large-scale RPGs. At the same time, Sony shifted its focus to more blockbuster titles sa PS3. Games like The Last of Us, Uncharted, and God of War became the main focus, leaving smaller niche games like Patapon behind. The closure of Japan's studio in 2021 was also a big part of why you haven't seen any new Patapon games since then. Well, hindi naman totally nawala yung Patapon. In 2017, Sony released remastered versions of Patapon 1 and Patapon 2 for the PS4. While the remasters were faithful recreations, they didn't add anything new. It was a nostalgic trip for fans, but not the revival many were hoping for. However, there's a glimmer of hope in the form of Ratatan. In recent times, the original developers of Patapon announced Ratatan, a spiritual successor to the series. While it's not an official Patapon game, it carries the same soul and gameplay mechanics that made Patapon special. The rhythm strategy genre may be niche, but Ratatan proves that there's still interest and potential for games like this in the modern market. In the end, Patapon remains one of the most innovative rhythm games ever made. It took the genre to new heights by blending music with strategy, creating a game that was both fun and challenging. Although hindi niya naabot yung mainstream success tulad ng ibang Sony titles, its impact on those who played it is undeniable. With games like Ratatan on the horizon, there's still hope that we'll see a revival of rhythm strategy games in the future. Until then, we can look back and appreciate the legacy of Patapon. So what about you? Do you have any memories of Patapon or thoughts of a potential comeback? Pag-usapan natin yan in the comments down below. At dyan na siguro tayo magtatapos sa topic na to. If you find this video helpful, interesting, or entertaining, please leave a like kasi nakakatulong yun sa channel. Again, I'm Zach, and this is GG Pesma.